Hey, good morning. I haven't made a video for you in a long time. I've been writing and writing and writing. I'm working on a book, a couple of books, and I found these notes last night that I handwrote. I've been really enjoying dot paper, and if you're into writing, like whether you call it journaling, I just call it writing, you can see that I use mostly bullet points, and I use different colors of pen and just to like highlight what it is that I'm talking about. The topic that I found, and I've written so much about it that I just didn't want to type it up more, but I thought this would be great to share with you like this, is about diet. I don't know if it's like me or if it's the planet, but I find nutrition is bizarrely challenging. I've been working and working on it for like 15 years, and I started studying mostly with Ayurveda because I am Indian, and I believe that old cultures have good ideas, right? And being born in LA and raised in New York, I am also very well exposed to the trends, right? So like these things, they cause me a lot of anxiety. Low fat, low carb. I was vegan for a long time. Vegan. I'm still kind of vegan. Plant-based, keto, intermittent fasting, smoothies, gluten-free. All of these things just did not exist back in the day. Back in the day, people used to just grow food, eat food, and do the best that they could. And before that day, we were hunting and gathering. I don't know, I don't think women did that much hunting. I've read a lot about hunter-gatherers. The women did mostly the gathering, men did mostly the hunting. Although I've read that if a man was tired, he might stay back and help with the gathering. And, of course there were some women hunters. But everybody shared food and lived together. And I've been living on my own most of my life, and a lot of my meals are solo. I think that's something a little bit unusual in terms of a human being eating. But these days it's very common. You'll see like there are so many lunch places that are catered to just fast, convenient, healthy. So, the cultures and times have changed a lot compared to what our bodies were evolved and designed to do. So whenever I'm studying nutrition, I try to connect to what's human, right? Rather than what's trending. Because I think what's trending is usually very disconnected with what it means to be like a happy, healthy, whole human being. My understanding with what's trending is that it's a lot about the way you look. It's about achieving a certain body fat percentage or a certain aesthetic size of clothing. And if that's all you really want, then you just have to eat less, and it doesn't matter all that much what you're eating, I think. But if you really care about feeling good, I made videos about this, but I don't wear makeup. But if you really want your skin just to look good without putting things on top of it, or I don't do pharmaceuticals. If you just want to wake up and feel happy without having to go through a list of pills, whether it's psychological or heart, diabetes, gut, all of these things, these supplements that are supposed to fix you, I think you can really edit your behavior. So I spent a lot of time thinking about this. And in terms of evolution on a personal scale, right? When you are looking back at yourself in the past, you want to see that you have done the hard work and come into this present moment, having learned the lessons, right? The first thing I wrote here is, we need to know that we're not traveling the same mile over and over again. What is a journey? A journey, there is distance, right? And if you're more into the physics side of things, we're looking at the distance traveled, right? That's what power is, that's what work is. If you are pushing and pushing and pushing, but nothing changes, you may feel perceived exertion. but perhaps you're not really going anywhere. So that's something I'm always looking out for. I always want to feel that less effort, more distance, right? You're decreasing the friction that you're working on. You want to feel that you're making new choices also. You're not bored or you're not stuck in a rut. I know habits are supposed to be a great thing, but I think the less that you're doing out of habit, the better. Make great choices, make them freely, make them again and again, but it's going to be like training grounds rather than, oh, it's time to do this same old thing that's good for me. You know, that's no way to live. You want to be fresh, happy, free will. Okay, so the idea of hunger itself, and I've seen videos and I'm sort of responding to this idea that hunger is a problem. You know, that you have to eat in a way to avoid hunger, and I used to feel that way too. Like hunger was so uncomfortable to me. I just thought it was bad. And I think we've all been conditioned, maybe sometimes by our parents, like, oh no, are you hungry? You know, this is a very Indian thing, like, you know, you have to eat a lot. We love you, eat a lot, you know. That's it, it's in many cultures. But then this other idea that there's marketing and consumer driven marketing, and it's kind of scary when you think about it. But there's so many products that are designed that are just like, here, eat this, you must be hungry, eat right now, have a snack, this is for your energy, take this supplement, it's gonna fix you, you know. You go into a grocery store and there's like billions of things that you could be eating, and you know, almost all of it would be unrecognizable to a human being 100 years ago. 1,000 years ago, we would probably just lose our minds, which is why it's so challenging to shop in the grocery store. They say don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. I disagree. I think you should absolutely go when you're hungry, and you should absolutely feel with your body intuition, like, what is it that's attractive? Probably you're not going to be attracted to the plastic packaged things, right, that are for convenience. If you're actually hungry, which I often am when I go to the store, what's really attractive is something like an apple, a watermelon, you know, especially apple, oranges, bananas, something that you can like touch and feel like, oh, this is food. Nuts, you know, you can like directly put it in your mouth, and it's very satiating, it's very like dense. And back in the day, if you were hunting and gathering, nuts would take a lot of effort. Berries would take a lot of effort to gather so many of them. In a grocery store, you just like push a button and like peanut butter comes out. It's crazy. And in a grocery store, you can just buy like 1,000 blueberries at a time if you wanted to. It takes just as much effort as buying one blueberry. No, you can't buy one blueberry. 1 pint of blueberries. The same effort. More dollars, but same like physical effort. So I would suggest going to the store when you're hungry and noticing like, oh, my body wants something that's like real food, something that I would have recognized as real food 1,000 years ago. And that's what's gonna feel right. This organic, non-organic situation, I would just choose organic if you can afford. If you cannot afford, then obviously, you know, don't worry about it. Just wash it very thoroughly. Maybe soak it in water for a little while. There's this whole dirty dozen list, right? Like, it matters that something is organic if you're gonna eat the skin. If something is like a banana, sometimes I buy non-organic, just shake things up. Watermelon, sometimes I buy non-organic, shake things up. Like, the skin is very thick. But bananas, the price is not that different, you know? You choose wisely. So I would suggest learning how to feel hunger before you start learning how to eat. You want to be comfortable being hungry and allowing the hunger to really guide you into what's good for you. Sometimes hunger is not food related. This took me a long time to realize, like, this idea of emotional eating, because if I were feeling a real emotion, it was not related to food, I thought. Like if I were really sad, I would fixate on the thing that was making me sad, and I would try to fix the feeling properly, like attending to that. But what I realized was that if I were really focused on my emotional state, then I was not able to feel my body very well, and therefore I couldn't eat intelligently. I would just like eat whatever was around, which is always good things, but I wasn't able to connect to my body as well because my body was processing an emotion and I didn't recognize that. Because I'm so physically active, I would feel like, oh, I've been like, teaching for 2 hours, I need to eat now. But if I were also emotional, then, which is also not a good way to teach, if I were also emotional, then it would be very challenging to feel what my body needed from food. It's not always the same thing that you need. Like, I see on Instagram, they're like, here's like 15 packaged meals and like meal prep and take care of it, like just don't think about it. I don't think that's right. I think you want to actually feel that day to day your body has different needs. I've done some interesting research. You can just Google Scholar is a great thing, scholar.google.com. If you look up nutrition, there are actual vitamins, minerals, micronutrients that human beings need. And often we're just deficient on these things. And that can affect your emotional state far more, I think, than your emotions can affect your hunger state. If you were just deprived of something that you really need emotionally, whether it's sense of joy, success, belonging, these things you have to address directly. If you don't feel good in your body, if you don't feel good emotionally, if you don't feel connected with people, with your work, with your environment, eating is not going to solve that. It might distract you from the difficulties for a little while, but it'll probably add to your problems. So it's a temporary solution. Maybe eating gives you that high or that sense of... I was reading in an Ayurvedic book that some people eat out of a desire to dominate. Like they want power over something. So I don't eat animals, but if you eat animals, I think that that's probably more related, that you've consumed the flesh of a living thing, that you have dominated that. I don't eat animals because I feel that there's too much pain involved in the process of, especially today, the way an animal is raised for slaughter and how the slaughtering happens. Those stress hormones get into the flesh. And the more you read about it, the more weird it gets. But I think you should read about what you eat. And also feel, what you eat. The things that are cleanest in the body, like digestion matters, are things that are relatively pain-free. Like a blueberry is a great example. You can eat a lot of blueberries, not too many calories, tons of antioxidants. If your stomach is empty and your digestion is clean, then fruit digests very lovely. Good high energy right away, very happy. So in terms of good eating, learn nutrition, learn your emotional needs, process your emotional needs so you can actually feel your hunger. Get to know and love your hunger, this kind of hunger. If you're hungry here, you have to connect to people, you have to connect to your work, your well-being, do a lot of yoga, let your body be happy, work through your emotional problems, whether it's past trauma, and we all have that. We all have that, no shame. Work through those things so that you can really feel yourself. And then if you're working too much, you need to learn how to rest. And what we're really resting is the mind. I think your body can really just do a lot of work. But if you can breathe deeply, allow your mind to really soften and be present and want to feel what's really happening right here and right now, that's the most beautiful thing. That's so nourishing. To bring in what's actually happening, like how beautiful is this space? How beautiful are the plants, the light, the sky, everything. Just feel what's happening, the temperature on your skin. the clothes on your body, movement in the room, the sounds, play nice music. Enjoy what's really happening, and you'll feel that that's so nourishing. Read good books, read poetry, turn off the internet, see what happens. Enjoy, nourish yourself well, experience hunger, feed yourself, rest, love, live, subscribe.